What's up, Coach? My name is Royce Slechta. I'm an offensive coordinator here at Wylie High School, and I coach quarterbacks. And today I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit of why we are a spread offense and the simplicity that brings for us against the teams that we see, and why we kind of hang our hat on that idea and that concept. Okay, so what I've drawn up for you is I'm going to share with you today a little bit of these defensive concepts of how we break this down for our kids. And so when we talk about working against defensive concepts, basically there are 6 looks that we see. We either see the ones that are here, your basic 4-2-5 defense or split defense, the people might call it. A rolling 50 defense is kind of the term that we use. And I'll explain that to you here in a second. And then a 3-3 stack defense. Okay, and those are all single safety families for us. And then 2 safety family defenses for us you find in the traditional 4-3, in the base 50, and then in the 4-2 hybrid, very similar to some of the stuff that TCU and some of those other teams are doing right now. Okay, so for us, the reason that we are a spread team, it has a lot to do with, as I mentioned before, the simplicity and the looks that we see. And so those 6 looks, those ones that I just got finished talking to you about, that's pretty much all we see on a Friday night. And you can trim that down even more depending on who it is that we're playing. I mean, obviously the teams that we play, very seldom are we ever going to see a team that runs all 6 concepts on a Friday night. So that's the kind of the beauty of it. And so when we start talking to our quarterbacks and we start talking to our offensive skill players and even our linemen about differentiating, what the look is, depending on who we're going to see, anything that is in this single safety family, for our linemen, we become very box oriented. Okay, and so we have a way of determining when we talk about being box oriented, with our linemen and also even with our quarterbacks and maybe even our running backs and inside skill players, when we're talking about the box, if it's as you see here in the 4-2-5, it's a 6-man box for us, and so we have a way that we communicate that call with our linemen up front. And so for the quarterbacks, they can either look from back to front or they can look from front to back. And so they can figure out pretty quick here, this picture here is a 6-man box, this picture here is a 6-man box. So as they look at those, and this one with the stunt and this rolling 50 defense that we have right here, with the stunt of the Sam coming off the edge and the safety rolling down, well, it becomes a 6-man box if you count them up there. You see the 4 linemen that come in there, and then you end up with, here's kind of where the box expands to. Okay, so you end up with any time that we see that 6-man box picture, it falls into that single safety family for us for the most part. There are a couple of exceptions to that, but that is one thing that we were able to kind of hang our hat on as far as the looks that we're going to see when we play those teams. And from week to week, it's very rare for us to ever see a team that's going to be an even front team, in a 6-man box that all of a sudden in week 6 when they play us, they're going to line up in a base 50 defense. It's over here. This is not going to happen very often. So it's a way to bring simplicity, to the looks. And so with that simplicity, then we start becoming more efficient in repetition and practice. We might rep, X number of run plays through that week. Certainly we're going to design run plays that are going to be more effective against those particular looks. But if we know that those are looks that we're going to see, then we start maximizing our repetition against those fronts or those concepts. Okay, against the teams that are 2 safety teams, there's a couple of ways to slice that up. You see that you get your traditional 4-3 defense, but again, in this picture here, now we're talking 5-man box. Okay, the same thing here. This is a base 50 defense, and so we're talking 5-man box. The one that doesn't is kind of the exception to the rule here is the 4-2-5 hybrid, and this really is more of a 6 picture, and we'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a second. And that seems to be one that the teams are utilizing a lot against spread teams, over the last maybe 2 or 3 years. But in this 5-man box picture, you can see how they go together. And so anytime that we get a 5 picture and our linemen communicate that, then it ends up being a 2 safety look. Now, how we communicate that with our skill guys, it's pretty simple. We determine whether it's a 1 safety look, whether it's a 2 safety look. We communicate that pre-snap. So the quarterbacks looking at the receivers are looking at the quarterback, and they're communicating whether it's a 1 safety look or whether it's a 2 safety look. And we use the terms, whether the middle is open in this fashion right here, okay, or whether the middle is closed. And if you look, here, there's a free safety in the middle, so that makes it, now the middle is closed. Okay, and so that comes into play for us in route design. A lot of the things that we run, we do a lot of reading of the defense, and we read on the run, so that when we side adjust the route according to what's going on with the defense. And the premise there is that with us side adjusting into what the defense is doing, then we end up being able to keep bad plays from occurring. In other words, and so we run to essentially the open grass when we're adjusting routes and those kind of things. Okay, our guys understand the idea that in certain looks, like in this 5-man box picture, well, it's very easy for the safeties to roll down, and this is how the blitz picture looks, against teams that we play that run this defense. And so they get very accustomed to understanding, okay, it's a 2 safety defense. Most of the time, if they're going to bring it, they're going to come from this edge or that edge, or maybe even both, and then they're able to see it much faster. We don't do a lot of play changing. Yes, we have our rathers, and on a Friday night, if I get a sense that we're seeing a team that's a cover 0 team and they're blitzing us all night long, yeah, we have things that we'd rather do against that. But if it happens kind of on the run or it happens pre-snap, then our guys see that and we adjust accordingly. And the idea would be that if they're bringing more than we can account for, or if they're bringing enough to make it a one-on-one across the board with our lineman and maybe our running back that's involved in the protection, then the quarterback knows, hey, I got to get the ball out of my hand. And that's the idea for us. And I think it's had a lot to do with the simple fact that in the 6 years that I've been here in Wylie, I think it's rare that we've given up. I don't want to step out there too far, but I think it's anywhere between 10 and 15 is probably the total number of sacks that we've given up on a season. That's probably what we're averaging. I think this year it might have even been less than that, less than 10, and we played 13 weeks this year. So that's kind of the premise and the idea. And so we spend a lot of time talking to our guys about these concepts defensively and how people work and how they move the front or how they move the coverage. And then it gives our guys a better understanding about how we adjust the routes and how we're able to go from there. So I hope, if nothing else, if you're not spending your time with your quarterbacks and talking about these concepts and talking about how the front, is somewhat wedded to the back end of the coverage, if you're not spending a lot of time and showing these kids this and how it breaks up into those single safety and 2 safety families, then I think you're missing out. And I think it's something that the kids can certainly benefit from. I know that our guys, we speak the same language, and that's an important part. And as they come off, coach, it was a 5-man box, and it was a 2 safety look, and this is why they did this or that. We communicate at that level on a Friday night, and it makes us more efficient because of it. So I hope this was something that you're able to put to good use, and best of luck to you this fall season.